From the mystery surrounding a massive frozen ship in Antarctica, to secrets on one of Saturn's icy moons, and even the woman who turned into a human icicle and lived to tell the tale. Here are 10 of the craziest things found frozen in ice. Number 10. 400-foot frozen ship. A giant ship has been found completely frozen in ice in Antarctica. The discovery was made thanks to Google Maps, and the conspiracy theorists have been going nuts ever since it was found. The ship is estimated at about 400 feet long and really is fully encased in ice. Some think it's a luxury yacht that got lost or stranded when moving through the cold waters of Antarctica. Some claim it's evidence of a secret Nazi base in Antarctica, while even others believe the ship is proof of some kind of nefarious project going on that the government doesn't want us to know about. But here's the truth. Nobody actually knows what this ship is all about, or even if it is a ship. The debunking website Snopes doesn't even know. These guys weren't able to confirm or deny that it is an ice ship. However, they did admit there have been a lot of famous ships that have gone missing in the region, and it wouldn't be a far stretch for one of them to have gotten stranded, tipped on its side, and then slowly covered over in snow and ice. Number 9. John Torrington, Ice Mummy. The mummy of John Torrington is quite horrifying to look at. He was one of the members of the famous Franklin expedition that got lost in 1845 while trying to voyage through the Arctic. The sailors ended up cannibalizing one another as they slowly starved to death, and not a single member of the crew of the HMS Terror or the HMS Erebus was ever seen alive again. All 134 men died in search of the Northwest Passage. The ships were just recently found in Canada, frozen underneath the ice, but the frozen mummy of John Torrington was officially found in the 1980s, 140 years after he died. His mummy was exhumed from the shallow grave on Beechey Island by the anthropologist Owen Beatty. There was a small plaque nailed to the lid of his coffin that he was only 20 years old when he perished on January 1, 1846. He was frozen under 5 feet of permafrost, with his corpse in shockingly good condition. He was found with his face poking out through the ice, a disturbing caricature of what the man had looked like during his life. He still had his blue eyes, though they had gone a bit milky, and he was still wearing a gray cotton shirt and linen trousers. He even still had his long brown hair. Number 8. Frozen dog. A very brave woman was recently caught on a home security camera, saving a dog that had gotten frozen and stuck beneath the ice of her backyard pool. This happened in Tennessee, and the security footage showed the dog, named Sid, running across the ice of the pool before the ice broke and the dog fell in. The poor thing couldn't get out and was in danger of drowning in just a few seconds. Luckily, the dog's mom didn't hesitate to literally smash through the ice and rescue the frightened canine. She risked her own life and the possibility of herself getting trapped in the frozen pool to save her dog. She pulled the 50-pound animal to safety and then hurried him to the veterinarian. The vet then said that if the dog had spent even just 60 more seconds underneath the water, it's likely he would have died. The dog had to be revived using oxygen and is now fully recovered. Though he's a bit traumatized by his terrible experience with the icy pool, we bet he won't be going anywhere near it for quite some time. Number 7. Frozen in snow. A Swedish man survived 2 months stuck inside his frozen car. Yeah, true story. As reported by The Guardian, Peter Skilberg was discovered by people passing by his car after it had been encased in ice and snow for nearly 60 days. The temperature outside was around minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit. It was so cold that his doors had frozen shut. He couldn't open them, and then all the ice that piled up on top of his car turned his vehicle into an igloo. He told police that he survived by eating snow and staying day and night inside of his sleeping bag. The chief medical officer at the New Orleans University Hospital said he had never seen a case of someone surviving for so long in such dire circumstances. Doctors said Peter only managed to stay alive because all the snow and ice on his car created an igloo effect, keeping him warm enough not to get hypothermia. Plus, doctors say that 2 months is the maximum amount of time that a person can survive without eating. He was definitely weakened and emaciated when he was rescued by a pair of snowmobilers, but he was well hydrated because of slurping up all the snow. As for how Peter got stuck in the first place, he never did say, and that's not a big surprise, as he was probably feeling a little embarrassed. Someone get that man some food. He must be starving. Imagine what that car must have smelt like after that. Yuck. Poor guy. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Do you know anyone that has? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 6. Saturn's moon, Enceladus. Something amazing has been discovered on Enceladus, Saturn's 6th and largest ice moon. The Cassini probe discovered methane and plumes of hot water on the icy moon back in the year 2005. But recently, scientists have figured out that the methane coming out of the ice on the moon could be because of microorganisms, in other words, living aliens. Experts with the University of Arizona have created mathematical models to calculate just how probable this is. If correct, it would seem that there is indeed alien life out there, and it's hiding beneath the ice on Enceladus. It hasn't been confirmed just yet, but the methane being created is very similar to how bacteria on Earth, living in hydrothermal pits deep in the ocean, create methane. These creatures aren't quite as captivating as Klingons or space gremlins, but this could actually be the first form of life, real living organisms discovered on a different planet. Does this discovery excite you or frighten you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Number 5. Glacier viruses. Scientists have discovered viruses 15,000 years old hiding in glacier ice. Most of the viruses found were previously unknown to humans. This startling discovery came from researchers investigating a glacier in Tibet. They found a horde of viruses, some of which scientists say could give useful insights into how viruses have evolved over millions of years. Viruses and bacteria play vital roles, both good and bad, and we need to understand those roles better. The glacier samples came from 22,000 feet above sea level. These ice samples act as time capsules, since they have been pieces of the past literally frozen inside of them. Scientists identified the genetic code of 33 different viruses, with 28 of them being previously unknown. What's even stranger is that some of them were still alive in the ice. They were basically hibernating, which is incredibly dangerous because if any of these viruses are contagious and fatal to humans, they could accidentally be unleashed into the population. However, there's some good news. Researchers say that viruses probably originated with plants, not with humans or animals. This means we're safe for now, but who knows what other dangers are just waiting for us in the ice. Number 4. The ice worm. The ice worm is a bizarre creature that thrives at freezing temperatures. What a lot of people don't realize is that glaciers can actually be home to a whole host of very small and resilient life forms. Ice worms are the most prominent in North America. They are kind of like earthworms that you find in your garden, only they measure roughly half an inch long and are as thin as dental floss. They live all throughout the glaciers of British Columbia and Alaska, with huge gangs of them coming out on sunny days to feed on the algae and microbes on the surface of the ice. Then when they've had their fill, they burrow back down beneath the ice and vanish. During the winter, they stay hidden in the frozen depths until the sun comes back. According to National Geographic, these are in fact very distant relatives of earthworms. They've been surviving beneath the ice for thousands, if not millions of years. Understanding the biology of these unusual creatures is a top priority for scientists right now. By understanding how they tolerate such an extreme cold, we can better understand how life might function beyond Earth. But we don't know everything about the iceworms yet. Most creatures become sluggish and slow when it gets too cold, but the iceworm's energy actually increases the colder it gets. They have some kind of special DNA that makes them thrive instead of die in the ice. Number 3. Cave lion cub. An almost perfectly preserved specimen of a lion cub was found recently underneath the Siberian permafrost. This is a cave lion cub, and it was frozen for 28,000 years. The beautiful little monster was uncovered in such an amazing state of preservation that it looks like it can just be sleeping. It still has all its golden hair, it has its teeth and its whiskers, and it even has the organs mummified. Researchers say the cub's claws are so sharp that they can still slice through skin. But just what is a cave lion? These were big cats that roamed all across the northern hemisphere, back before the ending of the last ice age. They were quite similar to modern lions, just a bit bigger. They were also more ferocious. However, scientists don't know if they evolved to cope with the frozen world of the Ice Age or if the dramatic change in temperature is what ultimately caused them to go extinct. The cub has been named Sparta. She is considered the best preserved animal from the Ice Age ever found by scientists. It's not clear how she died, but the Russian and Japanese scientists working on the case claim that she was not killed by a predator. Instead, she may have lost her mother or even had been buried in a mudslide. which would explain how she remained under the ice for nearly 30,000 years. Poor kitty. Number 2. Gene Hillard, frozen solid. In Minnesota in 1980, Wally Nelson discovered his friend completely frozen, just lying in the snow just a few feet from his front door. It was the body of Gene Hillard. She is now one of the only people to have ever been frozen solid and still survive. The young girl was just 19 years old when her car stalled after a night out. She was dressed in nothing but cowboy boots and a flimsy winter coat. She tried to walk back to her friend's house to get some help. It was minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and before she managed to get to her friend's front door, she tripped, hit her head, and lost consciousness. She then lay in the cold for 6 straight hours until she was frozen solid. When her friend Wally discovered her, he thought Gene was dead. She was stiff as a board and looked like a frozen caveman. Amazingly, Gene survived. Even though her body temperature was drastically below what it was supposed to be, and her face was coated in thin ice, she still survived. Her skin was actually so frozen that nurses couldn't puncture her with a hypodermic needle. The physician who treated her, George Sather, compared her to a piece of meat being taken out of a deep freezer. Still, after warming her with heat pads for several hours, she snapped out of it. They literally thawed Gene out until she was back to normal, and she didn't even walk away with any life-changing injuries. To this day, Gene is considered a medical miracle. And number 1, frozen leatherback sea turtle. An endangered leatherback sea turtle was found frozen in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia, literally encased in ice. The giant turtle was found by a local resident who, with the help from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, had to remove the giant turtle from the ice using wooden planks and a tractor. This is a pretty weird discovery because turtles don't typically wash up here. Sea turtle biologist Mike James said the poor animal was probably feeding very late into the season along the coastline of the Atlantic, munching on jellyfish when it got lost and couldn't find its way back out into the open ocean. The leatherback sea turtle got confused and it landed on a beach where there were no yummy jellyfish to eat, and it slowly turned into an icicle while dying of starvation. It was a pretty miserable end of the majestic animal, and not the type of thing the locals here are used to finding on the beach. What's the craziest thing you've ever found frozen in ice? Let us know in the comments section below, and thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit subscribe and come back for more. See you next time.